Right, you're welcome, everybody. If this is your first time of being part of our annual retreat as an entrepreneur, as a professional, you're welcome. I actually run a couple of communities of professionals, corporate executives, and every year I bring everybody on one platform and we go through a series of preparations and teachings on what it takes to, prepare for the next coming year, especially uh, business-wise, especially professional-wise, because um, no matter the fact that sometimes things can change, but when it comes to the economy, there are certain things that are predictable that if we understand as professionals and entrepreneurs, we can be able to do a lot more, achieve some more, and experience that consistent growth in what we are supposed to do. So far, we had 530 people who registered to be part of the retreat from different countries, more than 10 different countries. So we have people joining in from different time zones, and some are not able to join because it's too late in the night. But of course, there is a system to ensure that people who registered and who missed it, they will be able to get the recorded session. But of course, it's better when you're live because you can always ask questions as we begin to go through this. You know, in the last 12 years or so, I have been a coach, I have been a consultant to different companies across different countries, 20 countries so far, and of course, in different continents and different industries. And over time, one thing that I am privileged to get access to is insight and information. And also, as a consultant, is that ability to always anticipate and work with other experts to try to understand how will the economy change in the next coming year? How will the economy change in terms of Africa? How will the economy change in terms of North America, in terms of Europe, in terms of the Middle East, in terms of Asia, and so on? And the purpose of all of this is just to prepare the business leaders and the professionals to understand what they can do to better position themselves to lead their businesses. And of course, as working professionals, what you can do as a working professional in an industry, in a marketplace, in a way that you can position yourself and remain a relevant, valuable key player in your industry as a professional. Because we are now in a dispensation where if you are ignorant and you're passive and you are a reactive professional, you will be left behind, whether you like it or not, because the economy and the marketplace is at a faster pace than it used to be. And only people who have the ability to adapt with what is happening will consistently be relevant to their customers as business owners, or to be relevant to employers as people who work for different companies. So the purpose of this is to help us to prepare, because every new year, there's always going to be a transition, because institutions and industries and leaders and countries, they always have things that they want to do in the next coming year. And those things always trigger a lot of changes in the economy and in the marketplace. And it's important that as professionals, it is good to take out that time and retreat and prepare for those changes and make sure that you are not reactive. There are two types of professionals and entrepreneurs in the marketplace. There are entrepreneurs who are reactive. There are professionals who are reactive. Then there are entrepreneurs who are proactive, and there are professionals who are proactive. And you are on a safer side when you are a proactive professional and entrepreneur who doesn't allow things to happen before you start reacting, but who tries to anticipate and be proactive enough to take certain actions that will position you in a place where you can positively lead your business and, of course, your career. And before I go, in the next 5 or 6 days, there are a couple of key things I'm going to handle each day. But in this day one, I think the first thing I want to do is to establish what a professional retreat is, because it's something I always encourage people to do. It's something I always encourage CEOs and professionals to do. As a corporate coach, many a times I have led individual companies to do their own retreat as a company, and it plays a big role in the impact that they are always able to create in their businesses and, of course, in their industries. Now, what is a professional retreat? And I would like to explain this in 5 key points so that you can use it personally as a leader, as a professional, to know what to do next time. Number one, I consider a retreat as a transformational stop. A transformational stop. What does that mean? It means that a retreat acts as a stop where you take a stop from routine, you take a stop from the things you have constantly been doing, either throughout the year or in the last couple of years, because there are some people that they just run, they just operate, and they don't have that time where they really just stop to reflect and go through a thorough process that can enable them to create more and create better stuff for their careers and for their businesses. So a retreat is that transformational stop where you are able to position yourself through a transformative process and go through that transformative space where you carry out proper reflections that you can use for your growth. Number two, a retreat is also a sanctuary for innovation. Because when you take a stop and you focus on reflecting and studying and growing and planning and restructuring, it becomes a sanctuary for innovation. Many people use retreats to launch new products, to design new products, to perfect new products, and to do different things. So it provides that sanctuary where you as a leader, you as a professional, you are able to keep away all the distractions and foster innovative thinking and creativity for the purpose of the next phase or the next season of your life, of your career, and your business. And it is very important to always have that stop and just go through that process that can enable you to be more creative and more transformative. The third way I look at the retreat is as a catalyst platform, a platform that can catalyze you to do more, a platform that can serve as a catalyst for rejuvenation, as a catalyst for transformation in terms of professional productivity and personal productivity. Because it is possible for you to operate for 5 years and you are not operating at your highest level of productivity, and you're doing the same routine and you have not really taken time to just take a stop to really understand if what you have been doing over the years is really producing results and if there are certain things that you can change as a professional. The next way I look at the retreat is it's a platform for unfiltered thinking. That's why if you are in a season or in a period of retreat, it is very important to create time, set some time aside where you just properly think through, go through the process known as unfiltered thinking, where you're just thinking properly in the right environment, going through deep thinking, critical thinking, analysis, and you have cut yourself off from certain societal distractions and norms and all of that. And maybe some people take retreat in a hotel or in a retreat center or anywhere, and they're just there with a notebook, with a journal, with their projects, with their ideas, no mobile phone, no television, and they're just going through that process of deep thinking and reflection and unfiltered thinking for the purpose of creating something new and reassessing what they have been doing, looking at the gaps, looking at the challenges, and then, of course, they create something better. And the last way I look at a retreat is it is a platform for you to access new knowledge and new perspective. It's a platform for you to access new knowledge and new perspective. Sometimes I do that a lot. Sometimes I get some books and I keep them for a particular time where I'm going to study those books, because if there are books that I know that these books can enable me to gain new perspective, new knowledge, and new ideas that I can use to enable the work I do, I can use to enable the business I'm building. I like to study it at a particular time where I will have a deep dive in that particular book and use the ideas and the concepts to contextualize in the business or the work I am doing as a person, right? And it's the same thing, right? As we're doing this retreat, which of course, what we are doing where you come spend an hour plus here with me is just part of your retreat. For those who are members of the community and those who are here and I've been doing this end of year retreat for the last 7 years or so. And those who have been here for more than 1 or 2, 3, 4 years, I always tell you, the part where I'm speaking to you is just a small part of the retreat. But the big part of the retreat is what you do when you are alone, is the time that you create where you intentionally go through these things I am talking about, and you begin to make good use of that time and begin to prepare for what you are going to do. What are some activities you can do in a retreat? I've been talking about that, but to mention a couple of few, number one, do a digital detox. Minimize access to digital platforms because they control and they contribute to the way you think. It is difficult for you to practice deep thinking and critical thinking when distractions and you're feeding yourself with all types of information that is not filtered. The quality of your deep thinking will always not be the best. And there's actually a research which says that people that spend a lot of time on social media platforms consuming all types of information that is not structured and not filtered, the quality of their thinking begins to depreciate over time. And that is very true. So it is important that, because social media, many a times, if you don't know how to filter what comes on your timeline, you will consume almost anything that anybody posts. And that affects you because everybody has what they call information diet. And there are some people that their information diet is so bad, is so terrible. It is not filtered, it is not structured. So some people, the first thing that they need to do, that's why there are some people that they are not very good when it comes to creative thinking, deep thinking, critical thinking, and all of these incredible ways that you can leverage and create amazing things, amazing products, and be different at the work that you do. You know, one of the ways that you can increase your ability to experience distinction, or you can increase your ability to stand out as a professional in whatever you do, is the quality of your brain, is the quality of your thinking. And it is difficult for you to operate a certain dimension of thinking when your information diet is poor, when you consume probably anything that comes your way. One time I was teaching the people in the Peak Performance Academy. Is a community of entrepreneurs that we run. And I was teaching them one time, and I was teaching them the framework that they should use when they go to bed and when they get up from bed. Because what your brain interacts with before you go to bed and what your brain interacts with when you wake up from bed contributes a lot to how your thinking becomes better. If you wake up from bed and the first thing that you touch is your phone and you go online and you go on Facebook, TikTok, or whatever, and the first 1 hour of you getting up from bed, you're just consuming all of that nonsense, this is how it's going to affect the quality of your brain for the rest of the day. So it is better that when you wake up from bed, 1 hour after you wake up from bed, it is recommended for you to do only things that will increase you in value. Do only things that will increase the quality of your concentration, of your focus, and your brain, like reading a book, like maybe you can listen to an audio book and you can do meditation, you can pray. These are the things that are recommended when you wake up. Again, and before you go to bed, it is not advisable that the first thing that you do when you sleep off is leaving a noisy area or leaving social media and all of that. No, it is recommended that if your bedtime is 10 p.m., it is recommended that you go off social media at 9 p.m., right? Or you exclude yourself from all distractions and noisy stuffs at 9 p.m. And so that you between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. you do the right things with your brain. You try to filter your brain per se. You try to read a book, you can read the scriptures, you can listen to an audio book. You can even try to write a journal of how your day was and the lessons that you learned. These are things that if you do them, if you're listening to me and you have been struggling to really think with clarity and deep perspective, do these things for 21 days. You will see how the quality of your thinking will start changing gradually, right? I just felt I should explain that deeply. Maybe somebody needs it and they can practice and they will see some changes. Is that helping? Did that help somebody? You can leave me. I know there are some people following on Facebook and on YouTube, but you can leave a comment on Facebook if I would like to get some feedback to be sure that we are on the same page, and those are here on Zoom. Are you being challenged so far as we lay down the groundwork and this introduction? Are you being challenged so far? Good, 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 good. All right, so I was talking about what are some activities that you can do during a retreat. So you need to do digital detox, right? I spoke about that extensively. Number 2 is you can do what I like to call personal creative workshop. Personal creative workshop. What does that mean? One of the most important things to do in a retreat is to work on your projects, right? Work on your projects. If you're an entrepreneur, your projects can be a new product you want to launch. Your project can be maybe you want to scale your business, you want to improve the marketing of your business. If you are a worker, maybe your projects could be you want to gain promotion in your company, and you can decide that, how is there a way that you are going to go through to gain promotion? Are you going to work on your CV and resubmit, or are you going to have a 1-year plan where you're going to take more responsibilities, grow in leadership, and show that you're a valuable person in the company who can be promoted, whatever, but always have projects that are important to you for the next phase of your life that you can go through what I call personal creative workshop. The purpose of this workshop is that you begin to design action plans and processes and strategies that you are going to take after your retreat to advance your life. It's called personal creative workshop, right? So it's important that before you go into a retreat season, have in mind, okay, 2024 is coming. What are the major things in my life I want to achieve in 2024? You now turn that into projects where during your retreat in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, maybe after you study, after you pray, whatever you're doing, you spare some 2 hours or 3 hours just to work on your personal creative projects. And the purpose is to begin to break down each project. What is a project? You turn it into a goal. From that goal, you begin to build an action plan, you begin to build a strategy, you begin to identify the obstacles that you're going to face, and you begin to design the solutions to the obstacle, and you begin to write the names of people that can help you overcome the obstacle. You are creatively in a working session with you and yourself. You're like a one-man army, right? You're thinking in different dimensions and purposely making sure that you leave that retreat with a concrete action plan with projects that when you begin to execute, you will see how your life, your career, and your business will move forward. All right, after laying that foundation of what all of these are, and I hope that you're being challenged and you're picking up some things that you will do. The first thing I wanted to talk today was one of the most important skills that I strongly believe and encourage entrepreneurs and professionals to develop and grow in as we transition into the next coming year. Remember, the purpose of this retreat, where the first part of it is where I am teaching and training, is to share some 4 things that I believe that people should grow in and become good at, that will enable them to perform better in the next coming year, and of course, in the next coming years, of course, as far as career and business is concerned. So I want to talk about the skill of anticipation. The skill of anticipation. If there is one skill that I have extensively taught and coached clients in the corporate world to equip them to build great companies, is what I like to call the skill of anticipation. And based on where technology is coming from, and based on where we are right now in terms of digital transformation and technological advancement, and based on what is happening with the economy, when you begin to look at the African economy, Europe, America, wherever you are, one of the most important skills that anybody needs to have, whether you are a small business, you are a startup, you are leading a corporate structure, an NGO, whatever that you do, one of the most important skills that I think that as years go by, this skill will become more relevant and more critical, is the skill of anticipation. It is very important in this dispensation, where you just have the ability, as the word says, to anticipate, but in a more professional and structured way that can position you in a place where you can make firm and informed decisions that will contribute to the growth of your career and your business. Now, what is the skill of anticipation? What is the skill of anticipation? I will explain this in 5 points. Number one, the skill of anticipation can be seen as future mapping. I like to call it future mapping. What does that mean? This is the situation where you as a professional, you as an entrepreneur, you have this potential to envision the future through trends and different scenarios that are going around you. So you're able to combine trend analysis and use scenario planning to map the future of your career or to map the future of your business. Now, let me say, for example, there is somebody here who is, let's say, in digital marketing in a small town in the northwest region of Cameroon known as Bamenda. So from using any location, I will explain in detail, because 500 plus people registered for the retreat from more than 10 countries, and not everybody is not from Cameroon, right? So we use different names so that we can all be on the same page. But let us assume that there's somebody here right now following the session, and you are in social media marketing or digital marketing, and you are in the northwest region of Cameroon in the city of Bamenda, right? And in the last couple of months and in the last 2, 3 years, one of the major things that has disrupted digital marketing is AI in terms of copywriting and many other stuffs. But a lot more is going to be disrupted as far as digital marketing is concerned. I was actually talking to a guy who is in the United States, and he runs this amazing digital marketing company with just 2 staff, but he is using what they call bots. And he has created a system of bots where if a client comes to him and say, I want you to market this phone, he has a couple of bots and he will go pick just one of the bots and say, this phone needs to be marketed and this is the budget of the marketing and all of that. And the bots are all interconnected and all of that. And he has all these systems in place, AI, where they will create the marketing, create the ad, write the copywriting. AI will design the flyer, design everything, and he will just come see a ready-made ad and just click OK, and the whole system will cause that ad to run on all platforms. Meanwhile, it's the same thing that another company will need about maybe 2, 3, 4 people to do the same task or to run a professional ad. In some companies, they will need a human being who is a graphic designer. They will need a social media marketer. They will need even a social media manager. And this guy has a chatbot that automatically replies comments on Facebook. And the same chatbot automatically reply messages when anybody asks a question about that particular ad. You see, everything is done automatically. Now, if you are a digital marketer, the skill of anticipation using the future mapping concept can help you to start envisioning the future of your profession. You begin to look at you begin to look at ways that you can take the trends that are already happening, known as trend analysis, and you begin to create possible scenarios that will happen as far as your career is concerned, and you begin to adjust yourself in a way that you can adapt quickly so that you should not be replaced quickly or be replaced by a bot quickly. Meanwhile, if you adapted, you will know exactly what to do and when to do, so that when that time is coming, you will not be struggling. There are many people right now who are totally ignorant of how technology is going to shift their careers and their companies in the next 2 years. And they will wake up one day and they will notice that I no longer really have a job because of the way technology has advanced and is taking away my job, right? So you begin to use future mapping, where what you do is you use trend analysis and scenario planning, and you begin to envision, how will my industry change? How will my occupation change? And how will I adapt and make sure I am still relevant despite this fast pace of change? And it doesn't matter where you are, because the point is that technology is an inevitable force. If it is not yet affecting you, just give yourself some time. It will definitely affect you. And the question is, will you be ready for it? And 2024 is one of those years where it is anticipated that the change will be heavily faster than it has ever been. And this will touch across all continents and all nations. I was reading a paper and somebody said that anywhere there is a human being that has access to electricity, access to any digital device, has access to any form of internet, that person is either at risk of losing whatever they have as a job or a business, or that person is either at an advantage that they will take opportunity of the advantage. Because the good thing is that technology is bringing both disadvantages and advantages. So the people who are prepared will take the advantage, and the people who are ignorant will definitely enjoy the disadvantage. Right, so that is number one, meaning of the skill of anticipation. Number two is intuitive age. Intuitive age. If I say that you have the skill of anticipation, it means that you have this intuitive age as a professional, as an entrepreneur. Now, what does that mean? It means that you, over time, cultivate your intuition, because in business, actually, intuition is an asset. There are some things that sometimes your analysis will get wrong. But God created every human being and gave you what is known as a human spirit, and gave you a soul, and gave you feelings. Many a times people don't tap into their intuition because people are not good with two things: concentration and focus. If you struggle to concentrate and you struggle to focus, many a times you will not know how to tap into your intuition. And in this dispensation, intuition is a very important skill. Sometimes when you read top CEOs, you hear them talking, sometimes just follow your intuition. Sometimes data may actually be wrong. And sometimes your intuition may actually put you on the right path. But am I saying that you should depend on your intuition? No. I'm saying that sometimes you can do that. But one thing that intuition is good is that it can give you glimpse of possibilities that you can begin to research deeper. Sometimes it's not good to just ignore your intuition. If you start feeling that, oh, maybe this can happen as far as my business is concerned, why not do further due diligence and research in what your intuition is telling you than for you to wake up tomorrow and say, had I known? So the skill of anticipation includes you making good use of your intuitive edge, either in your professional or in your career as a professional or in business as an entrepreneur. So it means you cultivate your intuition to a place where you can anticipate emerging patterns in the business landscape, in your professional journey as a worker, as a professional, and you go deeper to pay attention to what your sense of intuition is telling you so that you don't just allow that to go. The next point under the skill of anticipation is empathetic forecasting. Empathetic forecasting. Now, this is where you put yourself in the shoes of the person that you are serving. So if you are a business owner, you need to practice empathetic forecasting in this season, because we are in a time where consumer behavior is changing at a very fast pace. At a very fast pace. And for people who are working, the expectations of employers, from global companies to continental companies to national companies, the expectations of the employers are also changing very fast, because the more the economy is changing, the more innovation is forcing disruptive change in various industries, the more employers and company owners are in a state where they are needing a lot from their team members. So having the top skill of empathetic forecasting, where as a business owner, you can anticipate the needs of the customer and you can anticipate the market shift that may happen in your industry, it will benefit you. It will benefit you. So practice empathetic forecasting. Just put yourself in the shoes of the customer and you begin to anticipate, forecast. Oh, if I were the customer I am serving with my value, what will I want? What will I expect from the business? Sometimes just put yourself in the shoes of your supervisor or the company where you work in, and you begin to ask yourself, if I were the owner of this company, if I were the founder of this company or the CEO of this company, what kind of skills would I expect from my employees? And if you notice that you are lacking in that particular skill, you can do yourself the favor of getting a course and studying that particular skill that will improve your value as a professional in that space. Because the more skillful you are, the more relevant you are to the company. And the more relevant you are to the company, the more conscious they are of the value that you bring to the business, and it becomes easier for you to be used and for you to be promoted if the time comes, or for you to be given new responsibilities and new projects to manage as a professional. So that is what it means to have the skill of anticipation. I want you to hear me and hear me very well. There is a lot that is happening. Throughout this year, I've had the privilege to sit in different committees and different commissions and different things here and there in different countries. But there is one thing I can tell you. A lot will happen in different industries across the world, especially in Africa, because everybody else is seeing Africa as that gold mine. There'll be a lot more companies coming to Africa. There'll be a lot more new innovative startups starting across Africa. But many a times the challenge will likely be in the talent that is available to harness these economic opportunities that we are definitely seeing. So how can you implement the skill of anticipation? And then we're going to take questions and we can round up for day one. How to implement the skill of anticipation? You're listening to me right now after getting the explanation of how important this skill is and what it is. And you're wondering, how can I implement this so that I can use it better in the next coming year? How can I implement this in my business, in my job site, or as a professional so that I can become more and more relevant in the work that I do? Number one way that you can implement this skill of anticipation is regular trend analysis. Regularly analyze the trends in your industry. And I hope when I say in your industry, you know what I mean. I've always encouraged people that one of the best things that can happen to you at the age of 25 and above, if you're a serious professional or entrepreneur, is that you have identified the key industries where you are going to be a top player, because there is nobody on earth that can operate in all industries. Even the richest people on earth, they are not in every industry. They are rich and they are successful because they are dominating in a particular industry. One of the best things that can happen to a professional, to an entrepreneur, is to identify what is that industry that you're passionate about, you like a lot, or you feel that this is where you can contribute to humanity through that industry. Pick that industry, stay in that industry, and make up your mind to become the best in that industry, either by running an institution in that industry or by becoming an industry captain as a professional in that particular industry. So the first way to implement the skill of anticipation is regular trend analysis in your industry. Let's say you're in agriculture and you're listening to me. That's your industry, whether you own an institution in the value chain of agriculture or you are a professional working in an agricultural company. If you are going to be relevant and you're going to take advantage of the opportunities that are available in the next coming years in that particular industry, you need to regularly analyze the trends in the agricultural industry. What are the trends? What are other stakeholders talking about? What are the leading research institutions in agriculture talking about? What are the latest innovation in agriculture? What do consumers want when it comes to food they want to eat? What are publications talking about? What are the news channels talking about? All of these trends are for you to consume them as a professional and begin to analyze them for the purpose of making decisions for your institution. So regularly analyze industry trends to identify emerging opportunities and emerging threats. Opportunities are what you can take advantage of in that industry, and threats are what you may need to design a risk management strategy around so that that threat should not destroy your business or destroy your career. There are some people that they have no idea of the possible threats that may happen to their business or to their careers. They just wake up one morning and the threat manifests and it hurts them. It destroys what they're trying to work on. But when you begin to regularly analyze the trends analysis in the industry where you play as a key player, one of the things that happen is that you spot opportunities and you create a strategy, you create a plan on how to take advantage of the opportunities. When you anticipate a threat, you begin to design a risk management strategy on how to manage that threat and keep your business operating or keep your career growing as a professional. Number two is build diverse network. Build diverse networks. This is probably one of the best things that you can do as a professional. If you will be in the position where you can implement the skill of anticipation. You know, your ability to engage with diverse thought leaders and professionals from different sectors of your industry in order to gain varied perspective is important for your future possibilities. Your brain alone and what you know alone is not enough for you to practice the skill of anticipation. You anticipate better and you design better when you have access to different minds and different thought leaders based on what they also anticipate and they also see. And the point here is, it's not just you consuming from them, it's also them consuming from what you think. It's also them consuming from what you think. Many a times, for example, I've had the privilege where sometimes companies just call me and say, okay, Jobert, I want to pay you for your coaching for 1 hour. What we want to do is ask you questions about what you think about this industry, what you think may happen if this happens and this happens. Because they understand that the best way to design, the best way to build, and the best way to anticipate is having access to what other people think. And one of the best ways to do this is for you to be in diverse networks. For example, sometimes you can go on LinkedIn is very good with this. On LinkedIn, you see several groups on different industries. You just join those kind of groups and you begin to see what other experts are talking about in your industry. Some of them will blog, some of them have newsletters, some of them have YouTube channels, some of them have podcasts, some of them will share articles that they have read, some of them have written books and all of that. When you begin to have access to those perspectives, you will be in a better position to anticipate. And one of the best things that also happen when you have access to this kind of platform is you also begin to read the research that they have also read or they are publishing about that your industry, and you begin to consume it and use it for your own advantage. Let me tell you something. If you are serious, except you're here and you're just comfortable at what you're doing and you don't desire, to become better, to become more relevant, more impactful, and more successful. But if you are really serious at what you're building, either as a career or as a business, these are some things that you have to do that will enable you to stop playing at an average level. There are many people that are heavily endowed with potential and ideas and intelligence, but yet they're still playing at a lowly level because they are not able to implement these foundational ideas that can contribute to their greatness and to their manifestation. So I hope that this is giving you some ideas and some things that, because the goal of this research is to challenge people to operate in the next coming year from a place that is different from what they have been doing in the last couple of years. That's the goal. The goal is that when you begin to operate after this retreat, after this time that we're going to spend together, the way you're going to execute, the way you're going to approach things, the way you're going to design, and the way you're going to start doing whatever you're doing, it will be different. And the results that you're going to achieve will be better. There are some people that do things for 5 years, and they will achieve the results that somebody would do the same thing just for 1 year and achieve. Sometimes the major difference is the quality of knowledge and information that they have and the way they do things. There are people that are doing activities, and the activities that they're doing can only produce great results after 5 years. But there are some people that are productive. And when you are productive, what people do as activity, they're just busy, busybody is not productivity. They're just busy doing activities, but not really doing it the right way, in a way that is efficient and effective. So they take a long while to achieve what they could have achieved in just a year or in 2 years because of how they're doing it and because of the quality of their knowledge. All right. So what is the third thing that you can do to implement the skill of anticipation after today? Practice scenario simulation. I did explain this briefly. Now, this is where you get to run simulations of different business scenarios to prepare for multiple outcomes. Now, for example, what are scenario simulations? Where you just try to anticipate, what if this happened? What if this scenario is in play? What are we going to do? What if this scenario is in play? What are we going to do? What if this possibility happens? What do we do? One of the best ways that you can prepare yourself for the future and be ready for what is coming is to run scenario simulation. It's either in your career or in your business. Let's take another example. Let's say there's an accountant following this session from Lagos, Nigeria, right? And you're wondering, what is the future of my career? One of the best ways to anticipate this and use the skill of anticipation so you are ready for next year and the next coming years is to run scenario simulations. One scenario could be, what if there are more graduates and more experts in the accounting industry? What is going to happen? That's one scenario. What if a company launch a software next year, and that software can be able to do 95% of the work I do as an accountant? What will I do? What if the next coming year, companies decide that accountants are not really very important again, and they're going to merge the accounting role with the role of chief operations officer so that they can pay less workers and have one employee do the tasks of two people? What if that happens? Or the scenario can be in your favor. What if I partner with a software engineer and we build an accounting software that can automate most of the tasks that accountants are doing that can already be automated with the help of artificial intelligence and machine learning? You begin to create these scenarios and you begin to anticipate the possibilities that are aligned with these scenarios. This is one of the ways that people actually create very innovative ideas. This is one of the ways that actually scenario simulation, one of the ways that we use as consultants in companies to solve problems, right? So you can bring that into play. If you're listening to me right now and you're totally ignorant about the future of your industry or the future of the business you're building or the future of your career, go and practice scenario simulation and be ready, be prepared for it, so that you are not taken by surprise in the next coming year. There are some people listening to me that no external force is really going to destroy your business or make your business to struggle. It's just because some things are going to happen by a natural reason and because of carelessness, and you're going to find the business failing because you did not anticipate certain things that may happen and you did not take action in advance to sort it out or to pay attention to that. So use scenario simulation. Give me some feedback. Are you getting some points? People here on Zoom, are you getting some points? Are you being challenged so far? Good. Give me some feedback. All right. Awesome. People on Facebook, are we still brethren? All right. As we round up, if you have questions, you can prepare. As we round up with day one, as we lay the foundation for this, our 5 days of retreat and transformation. All right. Thank you for the feedback. All right. Good. So, what is the fourth way that you can practice the skill of anticipation in your career and in your business so you can shine so bright like a diamond? How do you call this? Strategic foresight. Strategic foresight. What does that mean? This is where you use the present insights to develop foresight as far as your career and business is concerned. In simple terms, you just do proper due diligence of where you are right now. Gather all the insights that you can gather about where you are right now and where you're coming from. You look at the history, you look at the insights, you now use the tool and get foresight where you are going to. It's called strategic foresight. You use insights to develop foresight into your career and into your future. Why? Because how you got here, that information is important. And whatever is happening at this stage of your life, that information is important. Strategic foresight actually works very powerfully when it comes to personal finance. It also works a lot in business and career, but let us use the finance setting here. You know, if you are listening to me and you have been struggling financially for a long while, let's say financially struggling, financially means maybe you're living hand to mouth or you barely take care of your bills, you know, you're always catching up when it comes to money. You have never just had abundance of money without problems. But anytime money enters your hand, it's gone, it's finished, right? Hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck. One of the ways that you can break from that pattern is strategic foresight. You look at your finance history. Your finance history includes how you make money, how you spend money, and how you keep money, and possibly the actions that you have taken to multiply your money. You need to gather all of that. It's important for your financial stability in the future. The next thing you need to do is, where are you right now financially? Financially, where are you right now? What is coming in as income? Where are you spending the money? What are you able to keep? What is your mindset towards money? What are your current, do you even have goals as far as money is concerned? Do you have ideas on how to gain a new skill so you can add a new source of income? All of that, you will begin to see certain gaps and certain things that are holding you back from really experiencing that financial sustainability and stability. You know, there are some things in the money game that you will not really just overcome blindly and ignorantly. There are some things that you have to set out when it comes to your history with money and your present insight with money or situation with money so that you can create a better strategic foresight with money, right? So this is how you can use strategic foresight to anticipate and create some changes that will favor what you do and how you are doing it. The next way that you can implement the skill of anticipation is continuous innovative learning. Continuous innovative learning. Now, what is innovative learning? Innovative learning is because there are some people that, we're in a generation of, there's a lot of talk about personal development, right? And people easily brag on how, I read 10 books a year, I read 20 books a year, I read these books a year, and all of that. But I encourage what I created known as continuous innovative learning. I did it for myself first because I did not just want to just read anything. I wanted to have a structured information diet that when I consume that information, it is going to directly have an impact in the work I'm doing and in the future I want to build for myself. So innovative learning is that concept where you intentionally make sure that what you are feeding yourself with in terms of knowledge is what has the direct ability to create impact in what you're trying to build. And secondly, is when you intentionally make sure that you learn something new that has the possibility of being relevant in the future where you're going to, and especially something you have never learned before. For example, if you're here right now and you are in the field of marketing, for example, and you have read other books about marketing, you have read books on sales strategies, you have read books on marketing, books on customer persuasion, you have read all of these books on marketing. But now there is a lot that is happening in terms of marketing and AI. One of the ways you can practice innovative learning is to buy a book on artificial intelligence so that you understand a rising sector that has a direct impact of your sector where you operate, because that direct impact is already there. But if you don't practice innovative learning, traditional learning is when you're only reading things around what you are used to reading, but there are other areas that are new to you and they are impacting what you're doing, but you have not stepped up to consume it, is going to negatively affect you, right? And one thing about innovative learning is that it puts you ahead of everybody else in your industry. It puts you ahead of everybody else in your industry. Innovative learning helped me in 2017 or 18 or so, when I decided to do a course in India on robotic process automation, business analyst robotic process automation, or RPAB or something. Because I anticipated and I noticed that where business consulting is going to and where business analysis is going to, in the next coming years, it will be impossible to analyze any business that is not having a big part of their operations in technology. So it is not just about knowing business strategies. It's not just about knowing all of these business concepts and designing them and all of that. There's a lot more in play. I started reading about all this robotics, started reading about a blockchain and stock things under blockchain like cryptocurrency and all of these things, digital transformation. And that was because of innovative learning. What else can I read that I am not used to, but has the direct impact to the work I'm used to doing? That way, you will be ahead of the curve as far as your industry is concerned. So there's somebody listening to me right now. One of the major things that you have to do in 2024 and the next coming years, if you're still going to be an industry player in your industry, is to practice continuous innovative learning. You are going to need that. And lastly, which is linked to continuous innovative learning, is continuous evolution. Continuous evolution. You need to keep on evolving, regularly update your understanding and strategies to stay aligned with the evolving landscape. That is the meaning of continuous evolution, where you make up your mind that you will regularly update. And that's where consuming that innovative learning comes in, because without innovative learning, continuous evolution cannot happen. You cannot understand what you have not studied. And you cannot strategize when the quality of your mental intelligence is below par or is weak. So if you are going to continuously evolve and be a key player and be a relevant person, I would like to say that one of the best things that can happen to any professional is to become so good and to become so relevant that nobody can ignore you. Many times people look for opportunities and they're looking for breakthroughs and open doors and this and that in different industries, but they have not grown to that place where the opportunities can actually come to them. In career and business, you attract opportunities. When you run after them, you will never get them. Why? Because in the marketplace, people pay for value. They don't pay for how tall you look or how fat you look or how beautiful or handsome you look. That passed long ago. People now pay for the value that you bring to the industry. So it is beyond just looking for opportunities. It is you going to that spot where you become so relevant and so valuable that opportunities cannot ignore you. And one of the ways to do that is to practice the skill of anticipation by leveraging these strategies I have explained to you in the next coming year. And I to you that is going to play a very big role in the work that you do as a professional and an entrepreneur. All right, that is what I have for us today in this day one. And I hope that it challenged you, it inspired you, and it's causing some movement in your brain for you to make some changes as you begin to prepare for the next coming year in these last few days of the year. Lastly, I always like to encourage people before I take questions. I always like to tell people anytime you attend a teaching session like this or a coaching session like this, always make sure that you do two things after the session. Number one, write the things that you will stop doing because of what you learned. Based on the information and the knowledge you have gathered from here in the last 1 hour or so, what will you stop doing? Because many times there are certain things holding us back that we're still doing. And until you stop doing those things, you will not advance forward. And number two, what will you start doing because of what you have learned? If that information really made sense, if the knowledge really made sense, one of the things that should effortlessly happen to you is you knowing clearly what you will start doing so you can move your life and your career forward and experience that incredible progress. All right. Good. Any questions so far? I can get questions. Any questions? If you're here on Zoom, you can type your question in the chat box, or you can indicate and we put you on the mic to ask your question, and we're good to go. Any questions so far? Raise up your hand and I'll give you, ask me a question at least. Ask me a question. Yes, for those who join in late, we will email the recording to the list, to the registration, and to the registration. So if you're on my email list, you will definitely receive the recording through email. All right. Let me check on Facebook if there are any questions so far. All right, good. Thank you so much to the amazing people that followed on Facebook. Thank you, Evangelist Gilbert, Solange, who Solanges, and Gilbert, and so on. All right, good. So, all right, thank you for the comment and the feedback. This is just day one, and we will be doing this till, okay, there's a hand up. I see Joy Awuro. Good. Okay. Two more questions are coming in. All right, I see you. People, let me read some feedback here. One of my plans for next year is to build myself in the area of data analytics. Oh yes, this is one of the fields, one of the platforms that if you are wondering which career do I need to be in that will be relevant for the next 30 years, 40 years, whatever. Data analytics is one of those careers. Data is now the new oil, right? And there's high demand for data analysts. So please, how can I strategically place myself for more growth and development? Gain the required skills. It's one of data analytics is one of those fields where as long as you are good, you cannot be stranded. That I can tell you. I've worked a lot with different companies around the world. And one thing I can tell you is when it comes to data analytics, oh my goodness, as long as you are good, they will likely pay any amount just to have you. I've seen it happen over and over and over and over, right? So strategically place yourself for more growth and development by being in the places where you can upgrade your skills. Take the relevant courses. Be in communities where you can meet other data analysts that are making sense and they're sharing the new tools and platforms that you can use to be good at the work that you do. As I said about innovative learning. Are there any special tips you can recommend to help someone to be consistent in what he is doing? The foundation of consistency is number one, have a clear vision. Are you convicted that the path you are pursuing is the right path for you? It is difficult to be consistent in a path you are not convicted about. Consistency is very easy for a purpose-driven person. And show me anybody who have truly found purpose. One thing you will find in that person's life is consistency because they are operating from the place of conviction. They know that this path is my path of manifestation. This path is my path of success. This path is where I've been called to create impact. So the foundation of consistency is that purpose, conviction. You are sure. You cannot be consistent in a path where you are 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You cannot be consistent in a path where you are doubting. Will it work? It will not work. Will I succeed? I'm not sure. There is no way you can be consistent in that kind. That's the foundation of consistency. After that, self-discipline. Self-discipline. Self-discipline means that you do what must be done, whether you feel like it or not. When it comes to self-discipline, how you feel don't really matter. Whether you get it done, whether you're motivated or not motivated. When it's time for it to be done, shut the hell up and do it. That's self-discipline. You need that for you to be consistent, right? Those two things will help you a lot. All right, let me get okay, Joy said I have answered her question by answering another person's question. All right, that's good. Let me get to this great man, Edwin. Yes, Edwin, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Doc, for the wonderful session today. Actually, I'm into the field of data analytics, and one of the things that I face is a lot of time spent in cleaning data. And when you spoke about AI today, I was just wondering, what advice can you give someone like me to actually facilitate data cleaning? Are there some AI tools that I can learn so that I can facilitate my data cleaning? Because I realize that I spend a lot of time, and in the long run, I might lose clients if I keep spending more time in analyzing one data set for a client.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Don't bother what is happening. Now, one of the things that is happening in the data analytics field is that it is really, really advancing at a high pace. That's one thing I can guarantee you. And that problem or that challenge of cleaning data, I have heard other experts complain about it, especially when we are having a session with different people. I have heard them complain about maybe I'm working on a project and the main challenge is how much they spend in cleaning data. And I've heard a lot of rumors of different people trying to build platforms and technology that can actually enable them to be able to clean data. So the point is, can you start doing research to find out if there are platforms that or technology or tools available that people are building which they can use or you can use to clean data as a professional in that particular field, right? You can begin to do that analysis, you can begin to work on it, you can begin to do that research. And one thing I'll be teaching also is in business, there are some challenges that sometimes as a person, when you face, you can decide to take it as a business opportunity. Sometimes you can ask yourself, who can I partner with? Maybe you are not a software guy, maybe you're not a very technical guy, but the question is, who can you partner with as a professional to be able to build that technology that you need that can help to clean data? Right? Are you getting me? Is the doing still there? All right, so you can work on that. I hope that you're still getting me so far. Right. Yes, research and partnership will definitely help you. All right, I see another question in the chat box. Let me take Sonita and then I'll check our Facebook people if there are questions. Yes, Sonita, go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. So you mentioned something about data analysis. You spoke about data analysis and you said it is something that if you're good at it, is going to pay well. Now I was thinking that, let's say you just an individual just has a high, like just has high school certificate, like just ended maybe with the advanced level or something, and then he or she wants to enter into this field.
Yes.
And maybe the person does not have like money to go to an institute for that, like a well-constructed building for that. What we advise a person to do? Should the person go for an online training? And if the person has to do that, sometimes to learn something like this and be best at it using just an online training, it can be a little bit, I don't know, difficult. So what do you have like an advice?
Yeah, you answered your question yourself. Right? There are some things that it is a challenge to actually learn them that way. But sometimes when you don't have the means to do certain things, one of the best things to do is how can you leverage what is available to you and be able to build that career that you are talking about? Because there are some people that they will never have all the opportunities, they will never have all the resources to do what they want to do. But at some point, you begin to look at how can you leverage on what is already available so you can do and build your skills in a level where you can begin to take advantage of what is available. I mean, there are people I know that they do their best with these self-taught people. They depend only on YouTube and they watch videos and they discipline themselves to work so hard to learn as much as possible to the level they can even become entry level. Because one thing with with this kind of fields like data analytics that is driven mainly by the quality of skills that you bring to the table. I know many people that have been recruited as data analysts and they don't have the the standard certification issued by an institution or a particular licensing body. But as long as they are good at data analytics, that's all that matter, right? So again, this goes to everyone. Sometimes there are things you want to do, but you don't have the skills to get them done. One of the best ways that you can do this is what is available to you and how can you go the extra mile, leveraging what is already available so you can get what you don't have and begin to scale from that very point. All right, so one last question here on Zoom. What about someone like me who studies linguistics in school? Which field can I integrate myself probably in the coming year? I was thinking of something in demand in the IT world, but I don't know which exactly to choose based on my educational background. We have long really passed that time where you want to really pick up what you want to study based only on where you're coming from educationally. That age passed and is still passing, right? So, and the good thing now is schools are becoming very, very dynamic. Very, very dynamic in the way that they're no longer, years ago, they will emphasize that if you want to study this in masters, you must have this, you must have studied this in degree level and all of that. That is changing a lot in different institutions. And this is you putting yourself, trying to use your educational background to block your growth. One of the most important mindset in this dispensation is what they call the growth mindset. Growth mindset is having the belief that you can become anything you want to be if you put in the hard work, the commitment, and the diligence. So the question is not about your educational background. The question is, what are you willing to commit to? And what have you made up your mind that this is the career path I want to walk, and I'm willing to pay the price it takes to become a professional in this career path? That should be your focus, not you using. And let me tell you something, any educational background is a gift. The truth is there's no knowledge that is a waste. The challenge is many people don't know how to contextualize the knowledge they're acquired or how to leverage the knowledge they have and sync it up with something else to create more value for themselves, for the organizations, and for the society. So my question to you is, what are you interested to do based on sometimes people just use the word IT, they don't really know what IT is all about. Maybe you should go and do a lot of research. What are the various subfields under the IT industry? Look at those subfields, read them in detail, and you will start seeing some that can align with your passion, with your interest, or with your skill set, or where you're coming from, or you can just see something totally new. There's a lady who is doing cybersecurity right now. She has no background in IT, but she picked up interest in cybersecurity and she loved it, and she's now doing so well. I think, what is she doing? I think she has a BSc in a BA in history, totally an art student per se, but now she has jumped into a totally fresh new career, right? So it's all about that willingness and that diligence to walk that particular path, and you taking an interest in a particular sector or a particular industry. All right. So far, so good. That is it for today. This was just day one, and we will continue with day two tomorrow, same time, 4 a.m. Cameroon time, 9 p.m. for Central Time. Anybody who is in North America, you can break it down to your local time wherever you are, and let us meet here on day two, tomorrow same time, and take another topic on what you need to know and to be aware of as you prepare for the next coming year. I hope that you were challenged and you were blessed, And if this is your first time of being part of our annual retreat, hopefully you will definitely, you are definitely blessed. And this is what I've been doing for the last couple of years. This is like our 7th year of doing annual retreats with entrepreneurs and professionals, and we'll keep doing it. So if you join in late and you registered, you will definitely receive an email of the recorded session that you can use. All right. Thank you so much for your feedback on Facebook, on YouTube, and here on Zoom. See you guys tomorrow, same time. Cheers.